In this video, I will show you how to install Ubuntu, which is one version of Linux, in a virtual machine with VirtualBox. If you already have a Linux operating system installed on your computer, this step is optional and you can decide to go directly to the next lesson. But if you don't have Linux installed, or if you want to have your own experimenting environment for the course and you want to be sure that everything works the same as me, then follow the steps in this video. And later on, after the course, you will be able to change the Linux operating system you use. All the knowledge you will have here will apply the same. So first of all, you can open a web browser and just type Ubuntu download on Google and you will get to that page, okay, ubuntu.com/download/desktop or something like this, okay, and just download whatever is the first version, so whatever is the recommended version. Okay, so for me that's Ubuntu 20.04. I'm going to click on download. So you wait a bit, you can see this. So you save the file, you save the .iso file, okay, and this is quite big. It can be 2.7 gigabytes. So depending on your internet connection speed, that can take some time. Okay, and well, you don't need to worry about this. Now, while this is downloading, we can also download and install VirtualBox. So you type VirtualBox, you go on the virtualbox.org website, and here you download whatever is the latest version. Okay, it doesn't really matter the version, just download the latest one. And you need to choose which host you are currently using. So the host is your environment right now. So I'm using Windows. I click on Windows. Okay, and I save the executable. So now you can wait until the VirtualBox executable is downloaded. And once you have the VirtualBox executable, you can just click on it, you can just execute it. And that's going to open the installation process for VirtualBox. So just accept everything, click on next. Okay, you can just click next, accept things. I'm going to skip the shortcut on the desktop, but you can keep it. Next, install yes, and let's go. Okay, you click on yes if you have a pop-up. And that's done, so now you can finish the installation. And if you want to launch VirtualBox, so maybe you will have a shortcut on your desktop, or you can just type here VirtualBox and choose VirtualBox here, and that's going to launch your VirtualBox manager. So here I have a few already existing virtual machines, okay, but for you, if it's the first time you install it, well, you will have nothing here, okay? So what we're going to do, we are going to start by creating a new virtual machine, okay? We're going to configure it while the Ubuntu ISO is still downloading, okay? And I'm going to name it Ubuntu 20.04. And I'm going to add Linux command line course. Okay, you just use the name you want, okay? You choose type Linux, and then version, you are going to choose Ubuntu. So you go on Ubuntu 64-bit. Click on next. It's going to ask you how much RAM do you want to allocate for the virtual machine. So I advise you to give at least 2 gigabytes of RAM if you can. 4 is better, okay? And I'm going to use 6, okay, because I have 16, so I can use 6 quite safely. If you have 8 gigabytes, well, you can go between 2 and 4 gigabytes of RAM for the virtual machine. Okay, you go on next, create a virtual hard disk now, okay, create. You keep that, next, dynamically allocated, okay, and then it's going to ask you how much space you want to allocate for the virtual disk. So basically by default it's going to be 10 gigabytes. I'm going to put 30 gigabytes, okay, because 10 is really quite low. So create, and now you have a new virtual machine here, okay, which doesn't have the ISO yet. And I'm going to go on, so you select this one and you click on settings. Okay, we are going to finish the configuration. You go on system. So you can see the RAM. If you want to change the RAM at any time, you can change it there, and you go on processor. And this was not available for you in the startup process, okay, but this is quite important also. So by default, your virtual machine will only get one CPU. Thing is that you maybe want to increase that because 1 is going to make the virtual machine quite slow. So in my case, I have 4 CPUs, which are quite powerful. I'm going to put 2 of them. And if you have 8 CPUs, you maybe want to put 3 or 4 CPUs. Okay, so now I click on OK. And now let's see if Ubuntu ISO has been downloaded. Yes, it's here. And so the Ubuntu ISO is on my computer, so on my downloads folder, so it can be on whatever folder you have selected for the downloads. And then, so you're going to go back here to the settings of your virtual machine and go on storage, okay? And here you should see controller IDE and empty. So you click on empty and you're going to choose here, click on the disk icon, and you're going to choose a disk file here. And then you can just select the ISO you have just downloaded. So now you should see the ISO name here. You click on OK, and now, well, you can just start the virtual machine. Okay, so you confirm this. Actually, I have that one. So I have downloaded 2 ISO. You continue with start, and then you can see it's going to boot. And you are now in the install menu of Ubuntu. So you can just click on install Ubuntu. So you choose the language you want here, install Ubuntu. I'm going to keep English, of course. And then you choose the keyboard layout you have. Okay, so I don't have a QWERTY keyboard, so I'm going to change it there to French. And let's test. Okay, continue. And so here, if you want all the utilities and stuff, you can keep normal installation, but I'm going to go with the minimal installation because we don't need that much actually for the course. Okay, you can check here, download updates, yes, so you click on continue. And then it will ask you if you want to erase the disk and install Ubuntu, and actually you're going to say yes to that because you're actually not going to erase any disk. This is only the virtual disk that the virtual machine has created for you, okay? So no problem with that. So you click on install now, and then you click on continue. Okay, you select your country, your time zone, whatever, continue. And then you are going to put your name or just the sudo you want. So I'm going to put ed and choose a computer name. I'm going to put ed-vm. For virtual machine. So here you choose whatever you want, don't put any space in it, okay? And well, best practice is just to keep it short, okay? You will see later, just to keep it short, so that's gonna be better. And then you choose a password, so well, because this is a virtual machine inside my Windows, I'm gonna keep a very simple password and log in automatically. So you can put a stronger password if you want to here, and click on continue. And it's going to finalize the installation of Ubuntu. So now you can wait a few minutes until this is done. Okay, and after a few minutes, you will get to that step, installation complete, and you can click on restart. Now it's going to restart Ubuntu inside your virtual machine. So here you can press on enter. All right, and you can continue the final steps. You can send or don't send information to the company who made Ubuntu as you want. Next, done, and you are now ready to use Ubuntu. Just one more thing is that you can see that if I put my virtual machine full size, okay, full screen, well, the Ubuntu inside it doesn't resize automatically. And to do that, so maybe you will have this problem. If you have this problem, I'm going to show you a 3 steps solution so we can correctly have the Ubuntu full size. So the first step is actually, so you're going to click on here and you're going to type terminal. I'll just find the terminal. So actually we are going to use the terminal in this first step. And well, if you see that software updated, do you want to update? You can say remind me later. Okay, we are going to see that in a future section of this course. So we can continue like this, no problem. Okay, here, what you are going to do, you are going to do sudo apt. So just type the command, okay? You don't need to understand that. I'm going also to explain that later. This is just for the configuration of the virtual machine. So you do sudo apt install gcc perl dkms. So you type exactly that, you press enter, okay? You need to provide your password, okay? You won't see the password, you won't see any text when you type the password. Just type the password and press enter, okay? So you're gonna see a lot of stuff, and then do you want to continue? Yes, no. So you have to press Y for yes, and then enter. And it's going to install, so it's going to install some packages, and we're going to explain that later in this course, okay? But just we need to do that actually if we want to be able to have Ubuntu to resize automatically. Okay, and when you see that, when you're back to the green stuff here, and the command is finished, you can close that, okay? And I'm going to go here on devices, okay? So in the virtual machine window, and you're gonna click on insert guests additions CD image. And then you click on run. Okay, you put your password again. Okay, and once you see that, press return to close this window. So you press enter, and what you can do now is you're gonna click here to power off the machine. So to power off the machine, you actually have two options. You click here on the virtual machine window, power off the machine, okay. And you can also click here inside the Ubuntu operating system and do power off, and then power off, and power off. That's the same thing. Okay, so now you have powered off your virtual machine. I'm going to go back to my VirtualBox manager and launch the Ubuntu once again. And here, well, the thing is that it's working, okay? So you need to resize the window and Ubuntu will resize directly inside. And note that on some occasions it was not working the first time, so the window was still small inside the virtual machine. In that case, what you can do, and this is step 3, which is optional here if it's working now, you click here, eject, okay, the disk, you click back on devices, insert guest addition CD image, and you just click on run again, okay, and then you press enter and you reboot the virtual machine once again, and that should be okay and it should work. And then at the end, you can go back here and right-click eject. Okay, great. So now you have a working environment with everything ready for you to use the terminal.